Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As always, if you like my content, please consider smashing that subscribe button and clicking the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. And whilst you're down there, why don't you go ahead and click on that like button? It really helps the YouTube algorithm suggest my content to new people. So, let's get into this. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the cards that have been announced so far for Tarkir Dragonstorm. I know that this is a set that multiple people are excited about. Even though I wasn't around for the Cons of Tarkir set, I am excited to see what this new set will bring. So, let's get into the spoilers, shall we? The first card we are going to be taking a look at is Mox Jasper, a 0 mana legendary artifact that says tap it to add 1 mana of any color, activate only if I control a dragon. I feel like this is a really good card. Any dragon deck worth their salt is going to want at least one copy in there, and that's just a really good card. The showcase for it looks really cool. And this is actually going to be the only serialized card in this set, which I do hope that Wizards decides to keep this trend going, because I feel like it gives more people the opportunity of pulling a serialized. So yeah, that's really cool. Let's move on to the next card. The next card we are going to be taking a look at is Shiko, Paragon of the Way, a 5 mana Jeskai legendary spirit dragon with flying and vigilance. When Shiko enters, exile target non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard, copy it, and then you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. The best home for Shiko will more than likely be a sort of a blink storm deck. You can just blink its ability several times, and because you are casting the copy, it also adds to your storm count. I feel like it can be played that way in both standard and commander if you choose to make it as your commander. Next card, we have Smile at Death, a 5 mana white enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. I have a feeling this is going to be a good card in any deck that has a whole bunch of power 2 or less creatures. I personally probably will not be running it, because the only deck that I have built, at least in Commander, that cares about power 2 or less is Arabella. And she really wants you to keep your creature small. But as far as an enchantment goes, it's a really good card. I also love the callback to Cons for Alicia's Smile at Death. I really like that. Next card, we have Stormscale Scion, a 6 mana dragon with flying, and other dragons you control get +1/+1. It also has Storm itself. I feel like this is a really good dragon to have if it's in your colors. If we're talking about Commander and Standard, I have a feeling that Shiko and Stormscale will be best of friends. The showcase looks really awesome. I love the fact that it looks like the border has dragon wings. I really like that. On to the next card. The next card we have is Baronstep Siege, a 4 mana Orzhov enchantment that says as this enchantment enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. If you choose Abzan, then at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. In Mardu, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. I really like this card. I don't run many Orzhov, but if I do, this will be an instant auto add, because it doesn't really matter what you pick. you can either have your creatures get bigger, or if you are having your creatures die almost every single turn, you can choose Mardu and get that additional bit of value out of them. It's just a really good card altogether. It looks like that this is going to have a showcase, which looks like it is a battle map, which I find that very cool. On to the next card. The next card we have is Inevitable Defeat. It is a 4-mana Mardu instant that cannot be countered, and it exiles target non-land permanent. Its controller loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. This is a really good removal spell because there are literally no downsides. Unlike some other ones that I can think of, like Feed the Swarm or Withering Torment, stuff like that. This is a really good removal. I think that if you can run it, this will be an invaluable asset to your deck. The next card we have is Narset, Jeskai Waymaster. She is a 3-mana Jeskai legendary human monk with, at the beginning of your end step, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells you've cast this turn. I think her home is going to be in a Spellslinger deck. Something that cares about casting as many spells as you can each turn. I think she might be a better commander than Stellally, in my opinion, because you actually get to discard your hand at your end step, so if you are running anything that pays off from discarding, you already have that, and you get to also refill your hand equal to the number of spells you've cast, which, knowing Spellslinger decks, is going to be a lot. Just don't deck yourself whilst doing it. Be careful of that. I feel like it can be really easy to do that. It's a really cool card. Let's move on to the next card. The next card we have is Sarkhan, Dragon Ascendant, a 2-mana legendary human druid. When Sarkhan enters, you may behold a dragon. If you do, create a treasure token, and whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkhan. Until end of turn, he becomes a dragon in addition to his other types and gains flying. As far as a card goes, this is a really good card, especially for dragon decks. As far as commander goes, though, I personally would not run him as a commander. You are missing so many colors for the good dragons. I would honestly just put him in the 99. Coincidentally, Wizards also thought that he was a really cool card too, because he's actually the one so far who's gotten the most special versions. Let's take a look at them now. For the first showcase, we have a Sarkhan Dragon Ascendant. The dragon looks blue. I'm gonna be honest, I do not like this version. It is too flashy. It does not look good. Let's move on to the next showcase, see if I like that one. Okay, now that one's cool. We have a sort of a red version of the Sarkhan showcase. It looks like depictions of Japanese or Chinese art, and the borders around the cards are dragons. I really like this version. This is probably my favorite version. And last but not least, we have him in the showcase foil, which I'm going to be honest, it looks much better than just the regular showcase. From what I can tell, it is the same art, but the edges are shiny and it just looks better in my opinion. On to the next card entirely. The next card we have is Rally the Monastery. A 4-mana white instant that costs 2 less to cast if you cast another spell this turn. You get to choose one. Create 2 1/1 white monk creature tokens with prowess. Up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+2 until end of turn. And destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. I think this card will be really good in those storm decks or spellslinger decks that we've been talking about today. The ones that really care about casting more than one spell each turn. In Standard, I feel like this is going to be a card that almost everybody will be running. Because not only can you create 2 bodies if you need them, you get to protect your creatures, buff them up, or you get to destroy a target creature with power 4 or greater. That's going to be the big one in this set. I really like this card. I know I'm probably going to be running it in some of my decks. On to the next card. The next card we have is Skirmish Rhino, a 3-mana Abzan Rhino with trample, and when this creature enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This is just a baby siege Rhino. Again, I absolutely love the callbacks to cons. I find that really cool that they are referencing it here. It looks like Wizards did not disappoint with the showcases for Skirmish Rhino either. The showcase for Skirmish Rhino looks really good. It really fits it. This actually might be a showcase that I will want to get just because it looks cool. I don't know if I'm even going to use the card. It's just really cool. The last and final card in the regular set that we have to take a look at today is actually one that just got announced during the making of this video. We have Stormplane Detainment, a 3-mana white enchantment that says when this enchantment enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until the enchantment leaves the battlefield. This is just a trapped in the screen without the ward, which makes it worse. I honestly don't see this being too much of a contender in Standard, simply because of the amount of enchantment removal that y'all have there. Oh my gosh, how do you all stand it? I have a feeling that once most of the enchantment removal rotates out of Standard, that this might see some play. It might. But tell me what you all think down below. The last 2 cards we are going to be looking at are actually commanders. These are going to be your face commanders in 2 of the precons. We'll see if there's any more announced. The first one we have is Baator, Ancestor's Voice, a 5-mana Abzan legendary spirit dragon with flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. This deck is really trying to combine 2 aspects at once. It's trying to be a life gain deck, but it's also trying to be a life loss deck. I am unsure of how that's going to play. I suppose we just have to wait until the actual cards for the precon are announced. The last and final card for today is going to be Tevel, the Balanced Scale. It is a 4-mana Sultai legendary spirit dragon. With flying, whenever he attacks, you mill 3 cards, then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. I think that this is a perfect example of what the professor from the Tolarian Community College says. Reading the card explains the card. Only in this case, reading the card explains the deck. This is really just wanting to be a self-mill reanimator deck. You want to get as many things in the graveyard as possible and then reanimate them. I have a feeling this is a deck that you will really want to add Head Shredder in, because if you know what Head Shredder does, you'll know why. If not, I'm going to put it up on the screen for everyone. I just feel like that's a good fit for it. As always, guys, if you like my content, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when I upload, so that way you don't miss another one. Let me know what you think of the cards down below. Is there something I missed? Am I missing an angle on it? It could be. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, Thank you all so much for watching. See you later.